family time and finding some quiet spot. It's got some water and some sun lounge and not too much movement. Will do me. Just mainly family time and just, like I said, time to reflect, not just for myself, but, for my wife and my kids. Just pretty chilled and laid back. And, it's one of those things where you probably don't realise till you stop how tired you are, physically and emotionally. And I'm sure that'll hit me Monday morning.
You said that the support you had from the players in particular made what was a tough situation. It stopped being even worse than we could imagine. But were there any times in the season where you thought, I think I might have had enough of this? And if so, who or what sort of brought you back from that way of thinking?
No, I'm not wired that way. I mean, it's fair to say, and I've said it I love a challenge. So the harder it gets, But there were times this year when I thought, well, how many more challenges, particularly with our injury situation? I mean, it just seemed to be never-ending, and the start of the year was a lot of sort of muscle injuries, and we were kind of trying to get on top of that and improve our processes. I thought we did that, and then all of a sudden we get guys, doing knees and ankles and all kinds of things, and I just felt, will this ever stop? Will this challenge get any greater than what it already has been? Because I've always felt that, at some point, if you get through the tough stuff, you hit some calmer waters, and it's all for a purpose and a reason. But there were just times, even right up to the final, when we lost, Decky after losing Matters and Lucas. I just thought, when will this end? But within that, I never felt like, this is just too much. Like I said, it's not how I'm built, and there was never any moment. I've said to a few people, even in the most lowest of times, I still had this thing inside me. We were going to do something special this year. I just really believed it, and you can ask, the guys in there, that every time we got hit with a sort of roadblock, the one thing I kept saying to them, it's just going to make the story better. So, and it has.
Just in purely practical terms, when you're going off on holiday on Monday, doesn't leave a lot of time to have any talks with the club. But if things aren't resolved, will you be able to relax on that sun lounge by the water?
Oh yeah. Oh, don't worry about that. I'm good at relaxing, mate. Come Monday, I won't have a care in the world. But I assume I'll have an indication at some point. Only because there's some serious planning to do more than anything else. But I won't have any problem switching off. George?
And yesterday was enjoyed by so many fans. You obviously knew you were a manager of a big club, but when you see occasions like that, does it kind of reaffirm it? Which kind of feel like we're going to sleep and giant? I was overwhelmed by kind of just the sea of people, and like I said before, just every demographic you could think of, and there was grown men crying, women just sort of, girls and boys, everyone just so ecstatic. You just feel like, irrespective of what is happening in their lives at the moment, they all just were so joyous. And like I said, when you see the sheer magnitude of the numbers, you just realise that it's a massive club. And I had a sense of that before I joined, but I guess even for the club itself, it just reaffirms that that missing piece of success, what it can do in terms of galvanising a supporter base and really showing the size of the club. And it's fair to say it's a massive club, and the opportunity now is to make it bigger than ever. You said yourself you want season 3, and you kind of alluded, I guess, in recent months about a lesson learned from this season. What will you take into next season that this season maybe got?
Yeah, look, you learn from every season. Like I said, I think looking back at our pre-season last year, I don't think it was ideal, and there's certain things that we need to do differently, and certainly design differently for the coming year. How we kind of get our guys ready for what's going to be
the biggest challenge of Premier League and Champions League football. We know it's a massive challenge. So, how we prepare our players. I think our players will be better equipped. We started the season. I mean, people forget we signed Dom, who's been unbelievable for us. But then we signed 3 teenagers. They weren't ready for what was ahead. They've been unbelievable. Obviously Wilson's missed a lot of the season, but Lucas and Archie, unbelievable. We signed 3 teenagers now. Next year, the start of next year, they're not going to be teenagers. They're more than ready, so we'll be in a better space straight away. And I think, that's the other lesson learned is that we can't. I don't think anyway. That would be my sort of direction. Is you need to now bring in some experience for this group in terms of our recruiting. So that changes as well. You learn some lessons from that as well. But I think I said all along, I still felt there's been growth this year and we'll be much better placed at the beginning of next year to tackle what's ahead than we were at the start of this one.
And just pointed out to me today, my son, very happy Spurs fan, excited Spurs fan. That's the Champions League final for next season in Budapest and Puskas Arena. So are they allowed to dream about that?
Yeah, dream on. Yeah, why not? Why not? That's the beauty of football. You've got to dream.
Alice.
I suppose perhaps not for you as you've kind of done it throughout your career, but I suppose this club for 10 or 15 years has been caught in this kind of debate on whether, is it top 4, top 5, is it winning trophies, kind of where does this club sit, what should they prioritise? Was that kind of experience yesterday of going through that sea of fans helped to reaffirm the players, the club, the fans of, what winning the trophy really means?
Yeah, I'm not sure they've had any other parades for finishing 3rd or 4th or 2nd. I've always believed winning trophies is what football clubs are about because that's what you remember. That's what football careers are about. I've said to players, at the end of your career, the most common question you get asked is, did you play for your country and did you win anything? And then maybe people might say, well, what was the individual? Did you score goals? Did you win trophy, like individual trophies? How much money did you make? All that. But if you can say yes to those 2 key questions, I played for my country and I won things, then your career all of a sudden is much more validated. And it's the same for football clubs, I believe. What you put in your sort of museums and up on your walls are trophies. Now, against the backdrop of that, this club has to obviously finish, in high positions and be challenging for Premier League honours for sure. And there's the financial implications with not being in Europe. I get all that. But to me, what defines a club is always what it's won. And I think yesterday is, credit to the club who has had a lot of success compared to other clubs. It just hasn't happened in recent times.
Have you kind of let I suppose you've given yourself a moment to think about the journey that you've been on throughout your career over the past kind of 2 or 3 days, from Australia all the way up to now, and all the influences that you've had along the way, where you found yourself yesterday, as I say, in front of that sea of kind of people. Have you given yourself that moment?
No, and I don't know. I've always done that my sort of whole career. I have, unless I sort of get drawn into it when people start talking to me about it. I don't think about it a lot. I think that when I get to the end of my career, I'll kind of have more time to understand how I ended up in this place from where I started. But I tend to sort of just leave the moments in sort of perfect periods of time. It's like I'll never rewatch Bilbao. I've never rewatched any significant game I've won in my career, because if I do, I'll start picking holes into the performance, and I don't want to do that. It's a perfect memory for me. I don't care. People might say we didn't play well. It doesn't bother me. For me, that night will stay in my memory forever as a perfect night. And then I kind of leave that, in its rightful place and move on to what the next thing is. But at some point, if you chart the course of my last sort of 26 years and beyond from where I started, it's fair to say it's a pretty rare sort of journey I've been on, and feel pretty lucky to have been on it.
And the goal scorer on the night, Brennan Johnson. He's had a kind of difficult journey this season, from earlier on this season, deactivating his social media accounts and stuff, to where he came, obviously, in the final. Kind of, if you can, just kind of put into context, like, what his contribution means to the club, to himself, I suppose. Like, being able to deliver such a huge occasion.
Yeah, and Brennan's kind of indicative of what I've been trying to build here, is about people of character, people of resilience, and like I said, he hasn't had it easy, but it's been surprising to me because actually his contribution's been significant from the time we signed him. I mean, you stack up his record since he's been here to any other winger, apart from Mo, who's a freak, and Brennan stands up, goals, assists. I mean, and that's what you need from attacking players, and not just in any games, in big games as well. And it's a credit to him. And again, fair to say he was one of the ones that's enjoyed himself the last couple of days, but rightly so. And I'm hoping that him doing that on such a big stage, that's just he comes back next year with as a mentality monster of what, I know what it takes to win, and this is what I want again, and that feeds on to everyone else. I mean, that's hope. What you hope Wednesday night creates is that all these guys have got a taste of it now, and want more of it.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.